think the government believes there really are? Dozens? Hundreds? Thousands? How about 1 million? That's right, the terror watch list of possible terror suspects has now hit 1 million names, up by a third just in the last 2 years. Can we really keep track of them all? Joining us now is John Batchelor, a frequent guest with us here on Sunday mornings on Fox. He's the host of The John Batchelor Show on ABC Radio, which can be heard tonight at 7 p.m. And also joining us is the former supervisory special agent for counterterrorism at the FBI, Richard Schober. Richard and John, welcome. John, good morning. Let me start with you first. Who are they? Where are they? And how do we stop them?
The 95% of the people that have been stopped within the last year are people who do not have an American passport. This is chiefly a problem for folks who are traveling here and going overseas. The 5% that do have American passports, I suspect there are a deal of them that are Somalian. You understand the Somalis emigrated to the United States after the troubles in the 90s, especially in Minnesota and Maine, in certain states. Those are the problems. That's what we're looking at. The growth over the last year, I think I lay down to good rules at the FBI, especially something called the TSC, the Terrorist Stop Center.
Well, there's also reports that in Pakistan and other areas, they're trying to train them to get them into Europe, into France or England, and then get them over here.
I think that what we have here is America having better rules about terrorists than we see overseas. I don't have any facts about France, but I do know that the FBI in the last year has been very successful working with the other authorities at the airports, been very successful of identifying problems. There have been about 100,000 stops at airports. About 1% of those have led to arrests, chiefly because they've had false identity, not terrorists, Eric.
Richard, do we believe that any of these potential terrorists or suspects are actually here now? And how does the FBI here, before they get to the airport, or after they're gone past the airport, keep track of them?
Well, the Terrorist Screening Center basically harbors 12 federal agencies dumped names into this, and the FBI kind of mandates this and runs the TSC, which basically puts out the terrorist watch. And on this, it allows the FBI with a 24/7 monitoring station to communicate with both federal and local and state law enforcement officials around the country. Should there be a terrorist located within the United States, then this will enable all agencies to gather intelligence on this individual. Hypothetically, if an individual were to be stopped on a routine traffic stop in Minnesota, this individual would be run through the local dispatch there. It would pop up as contact TSC, the Terrorist Screening Center. They would contact TSC. TSC would coordinate with that local police officer who stopped the suspect in Minnesota with the federal agent who works for either the FBI or the agency or whatever federal agency to try to correlate intelligence between the two. Well, so I think it has been proven it is a very good effort by the FBI and by federal agencies to try to thwart terrorism.
Well, that seems a great step. I mean, one of the 9/11 hijackers was stopped speeding, given a ticket just before 9/11 when he was coming up the East Coast. John, remember back in 1993, the bombing of the World Trade Center?
Yes.
They were here.
Yes.
Abdel Rahman, right across Jersey City. One of those fellows who was convicted, El Sayed Nosair, worked in the New York City court system. They were here, part of our fabric. How do we know that's not the case right now?
We don't, Eric, but we're a very hard target. Since 1993, the progress that the FBI has made is heroic. I mean, let's look at the FBI. They're spending money and they're working very hard. We don't have a bad story since 2001. That's a credit to the FBI and a credit to the stops at the airport. I also want to say one other thing about the airports. It isn't just the check-in center when you go through for your ticketing. It's also that the authorities, the transportation authorities, have officers, 2,400 officers at about 161 of our airports who are not at the check-in, who are walking around the airport looking for problems. That's a credit, again, to the FBI.
Right, we're out of time now, but Richard, last word. You believe the FBI is actually doing its job properly?
Most definitely. Since 9/11, we haven't had an attack here in the United States, and there have been several thwarted attacks by the FBI, both here based on intelligence gathered from the TSC and partnerships from abroad.
Well, that's encouraging for all of us. John Batchelor, good to see you. I'll be on the radio tonight at 7. And Richard Schrobill, formerly of the FBI. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thanks.
Jamie?
There's a new law in Los